Alright, so I want to discuss a few things about Kasumi's loyalty mission. I'm actually doing this way past the collectorship mission. I know a lot of players like to do this early, like in the game. Usually, sometimes they do it right after they get the Normandy, so they can get the Locust right away. Some do it after. I usually like to do it after, like, say, Morden's mission and after Garrus's mission sometimes. Mostly for the Locust, or the there's also a tech damage upgrade. It's up to you. I mean, with the Adept, I usually like to leave this last because I can do just fine without the Locust. Locust is not a huge thing for me. I used to like it a lot. Used to use that a lot. I started using the other SMGs a lot more, like the Locust, not the Locust, the Tempest and Shrook, and I like those guns now, so I'm fine with it. They're all pretty good, they're all decent, they're all about pretty well balanced, actually, I think. But, I mean, it's personal preference. Okay, one thing you'll notice here, I'm using Warp as my identity instead of using Throw. One thing I don't know if I've ever mentioned, I like using Warp in indoor environments and Throw in sort of like outdoor environments or environments with like high ceilings, things like that. Just because I find when your Throw really won't kill if they're indoors, so I find Warp's better for that, even though it has a longer cooldown. Or that, or I just shoot them, but... Okay, this thing here, there's this weird thing where there's an invisible wall. If you take the left side and try to get to the Emer on the right side, there's a couple like doorways you can see when I go down. They're like invisible walls there, and you can't really hit them through it. It's really annoying. So you have to basically take them through this door on the right here. It's kind of annoying. Okay, so I want to talk about the Locust a little more. A lot of players really like the gun. They think it's the best SMG in the game. It's tough to argue with that. I guess it's personal preference, I think, but whether you like it. But the Locust is extremely accurate, so you can use it at pretty much all ranges. High damage per shot. I think it's the highest damage per shot of all the SMGs. Slower rate of fire, but makes up for it. And it's got a little less of a shield bonus. Shield damage bonus than the other SMGs, but as a little bit of an armor bonus. So a lot of people like to use that so they don't have to take, like, say, assault rifles, or they don't want to take assault rifles. Then they use that, and then that way they can take, like, say, shotguns or something. Use typically shotguns as their bonus weapon on the collector ship. It is a really good SMG. I'm actually using it the whole mission here just to show it off. The thing with me is, though, I actually haven't used the Locust in a fairly long while, and so I'm actually very bad at it. Using it for some odd reason. If I remember, I'll link a video in the description of all the fails I did. I spent like an hour trying to beat this on my first attempt at it, and it didn't go well. A lot of times because I have just Kasumi with me as a squad mate for this mission, because you have to only just take her. And the other reason I was having trouble, I was making some bad decisions, but I just, for whatever reason, could not get used to the Locust for whatever reason. So I was like shooting all over the place and missing guys, and just it was brutal. And you'll notice I'm still trying to do the same things that I've always done before, which is lay down a singularity on the guys, and then use pull on some other guys, things like that. Yeah, it's things I've been doing the whole time, things I've been talking about how to play with is the Adept. At least this style of play.
Shields are down. It'll take heavier weapons than that to blow those suits.
Kasumi, as a squad mate, good squad mate for a lot of classes. She gets better when she gets flashbang as a bonus power when you complete her loyalty mission, but I don't know. I don't like her as a squad mate on the Adept particularly. As an adept, her overload, especially when I guess evolved to area overload, is probably her best power for the adept. I mean, her Shadow Strike is good, but I find it works better with other classes than the adept. Just because you face a lot of shields here, so. But like I said, Flashbang's probably her best power, but she doesn't get that until you complete her loyalty mission. I'm doing this late. Flashbang's really good against Harbinger. There's there's a glitch and sort of an exploit, whatever you want to call it, where if you hit Harbinger with Flashbang, you basically disable him for like 30 seconds, where he can't use any abilities on you. So that's really good. They'll still taunt you the entire time, but that just makes it funny. You know you feel this. Actually, you're not hurting me at all, Harbinger. In fact, you're just standing there staring at me like an idiot. Actually, Kasumi's Shadow Strike would play half decent against the Emir mech, just because you can have her like go up against him, it'll do some damage. I think it does like double damage to all protections. Shadow Strike does, and then it'll actually distract the Emir mech for a bit. That way you can spend time shooting it. But really, as long as you're behind cover, it's not a huge deal. You don't really need her a whole lot. So I just keep her with her overload mapped. Ow. Yeah, that guy's still alive. Yeah, if you're on PC, you can map a lot more powers. Obviously, if you're on console like Xbox and PlayStation 3, then you're sort of screwed. Where you always have your signature power mapped, and then you can map 2 other of your own powers. And your squad mates, well, you can either let them do whatever and not map any powers, and then you just use your left and right D-pad and hope they use the right power for the job, which they always won't. They won't always do that. Sometimes they do. Some squad mates are better than others at doing it. But. Or you can map a 1 power, but then that power is always mapped. You can't unmap it unless you map a different power, which is kind of annoying at times. So I usually just try to use the power they use most. I rarely leave them a chance, because sometimes things like, you know, you get like Jack using Shockwave when you don't pull the entire time. So it's usually just map, pull, and get it over with. Kasumi's kind of weird. She'll sometimes use Shadow Strike a lot, and it's like, well, no, I want to use Overload on those shields, and then she'll go up and Shadow Strike. It's like, gosh darn it, Kasumi. That's where PC's really good. PC's obviously probably the superior platform, but hey, Xbox was a gift from my brother for my birthday at one point. Or Christmas, or I think it was a birthday. So I've been using it ever since, and the PC I do have is a piece of garbage, so. So I'm cheap and I bought a garbage laptop, because, hey, I was only ever going to use it for internet and word processing, and oh hey, look, now I'm playing some games on it, and hey, look, I'm recording video on it, and yeah, just kind of annoying where you basically spend the entire game with 2 squad mates, and then all of a sudden, hey, we're going to stick you with just 1 squad mate. And she's not that great with the Adept. Particularly if you spent the whole time with, like I do, with like either Miranda and or Thane, you know, with at least a single warp bomber their entire time. So it's kind of annoying when I don't have that and I have to do it all myself. I like having that warp bomb squad mate, so I can basically, I do the singularity, I do the pull, I'll do the shield stripping with my guns. You warp to, you know, kill him and stagger everyone around him, and I'll just continue doing everything else. So it's kind of annoying when I don't have that option. Feels like I'm slowed down a lot. Although having area over does help, but again, it's a long cooldown. Actually, I should talk more about Kasumi. her passive talent, it's supposed to provide a cooldown bonus, like up to 25%. That actually does not work. I'll see if I can remember. If I can't remember, I'll link a video to it in the description. The guy showing that it actually doesn't work. It was Jay Walker that did that. Which is kind of annoying, because otherwise it would have made her a little more useful. So it would have really helped out her overload. For other powers, they're like combat powers, so they're not tech. So they would have helped with that as well, but at least the tech cooldown bonus helps. It's just that part of her passive just doesn't work, which kind of sucks. Alright, moving on to this last part. So, I have the missile launcher on my back. I use that quite a bit as that. Well, if you're on New Game Plus, it really helps in a bunch of areas. But it actually, I find I need to take it on this mission here, specifically for this last part. You'll see why later, because it happens where guys don't die when they're supposed to by going outside the map, and you have to use that to kill them. This part's annoying. So I'm going to place Kasumi there, and I'm going to go up here so I can take the brunt of the fire and hope she stays alive. Spoiler alert, she doesn't. Trying to get her to pull him. So that pulled her away, and she ends up dying later because I'm an idiot. She moved away. Now she's taking fire from them. I didn't see where. I didn't see she was taking fire. And now she's dead. Which is really annoying to me, but screw it, I can do this by myself. I don't need her. I was barely using her much anyway, other than her overload.
Lay down your weapons.
So now I'm just waiting for the other guys to come up the elevator. So there's 3 elevators. The one that behind me is... If you go to this cover here, they won't come up behind you. So I find I like to stay in this cover a lot. But for this video, I move around a bit just because it's a little more interesting to see. So now I'm trying to figure out whether I'm coming out of the elevator. I'm like, oh, someone's not dead. So I pull out the radar, and you can see he's behind me somewhere, but I don't know where. So I'm just trying to get out of the line of fire so I can actually see the darn thing. So I'm going to fire this to see, and it picked... Because it's not auto-targeting, it's like an auto-target, but it doesn't always pick the best target. It just seems to pick a random target sometimes. So it targeted the gunship. And you can see, again, it's targeting the gunship by going like all the way around the map. It doesn't actually hit. I think it dies out about halfway. It's got a time limit or a length limit on it or something. Not sure exactly how it works. So now I'm trying to find this guy. I see him on radar, so I'm looking up there. Is he there? There, I see the health, and he's down there. I should have just pulled him, but screw it. I got a lot of missiles. That's not the only time I'll use that, by the way. Now I pull out warp just so I can do a little extra damage, try to get this thing's shields down. So if you've never played this before, if you have, then you know what's up in that. You got to take the shields down first, then eventually it'll go down, and then next time it comes up, after it shields go down, Kasumi would comment, hey, its shields are back up, get me close, I can disable it. Then you have to kill basically everyone else in the field, and then you can get close to it, and then it'll, or sometimes the cutscene will just automatically trigger. She'll disable shields, and then you can take down its armor, and then the battle typically ends after that. Take this guy with. This is why I love throw. Though sometimes they take really weird directions. Especially if typically coming off singularity, I guess, but okay, that guy is trying to pull. This is why I love throw pulpus throw. You can just send him flying. It's great. I love it. It's so fun to watch. Like I said, sometimes they just take really weird directions when you throw them. see there's health somewhere, so I'm just trying to find the thing now. There it is. And I accidentally hit the wrong thing, so let's shoot him and then throw him on the ceiling. Ow. Half useless squad mate. She's better on some other classes. Although, like I said, like she's better with flashbang. But you know, she's got a. I mean, Shadow Strike's good. Overload's good. She's actually shouldn't say she's half useless. She's actually very good. I just don't find she's very good with the Adept. As I prefer Garrus's Overload since he has extra power damage that can go with it. For cool down work, she might be considered her a little better than Garrus, maybe a bit. Again, her Shadow Strike's good, but it's a single target, so it's alright. And her flashbang's her best power, but again, it's a bonus power. And as an Adept, I prefer Warp Bombers as my squad mates anyway, like Marina and Thane. Usually take both if I can, all the time. So this is the other part where I gotta find... See, the gunship went down. Usually it's either the gunship is up, or there's guys coming up the elevator. So when the gunship's down and there's no guys coming up elevators, then I know that there's I threw some dude off the map. I don't know where the frig he is. So I'm trying to find him. I'm also trying to wait and maybe see if the gunship will come back up. So I'm just going to fire it. I think, again, I do remember throwing guys over there. I was going to see if it targets them. I see that it moves in a weird angle, so I'm like, oh, there must be a guy there. So I'll just fire a bunch of missiles off. Here, and I hear the elevators working again, so and there I see the lights flashing, so you know they're coming up there.
I'd like to get down to this line, Kasumi.
Gunship's back into full shield. If I can get to the ship, I can take down the shield.
Forgot to switch back to throw. I wish I had, you know, a way to have a map of 4th power sometimes.
Died in the world. Now you die.
Look right.
Yeah, another, like if you're on New Game Plus, the missile launcher is actually a very good bonus weapon for the Adept, because there's a lot of places when you're on New Game Plus when I have, you know, you probably have, say, if you're doing like the same build, you know, like say pool field and heavy throw or even area throw. I like heavy throw myself, but so you sometimes throw guys in weird spots off the map, and if they survive, then you gotta kill them. That's when the missile launcher really comes in handy. Early game, you're not using throw really a whole lot, and it's a low-level throw, so it's really not that great. So you don't usually have that huge issue. I know Horizon's kind of a bad area at that time, where I once threw a collector on New Game Plus. I threw a collector off the map, and he turned into Harbinger. I had no way of killing him because I was carrying like the Avalanche at the time. I think, and another time I did that, and it was like I had the missile launcher, and I was able to kill him, like, you know, firing a few missiles off the map. Had that once happen on. I happened to have to carry my back one time, and I don't know, Miranda's loyalty mission, and I threw a guy on top of one of the buildings, and he survived somehow. So that was a good way to kill him. Otherwise, you can't get into one of the elevators. It was like the first part when the elevator, when you go in, there's enemies still in the area. I didn't know where he was. He was like on top of the building, so he couldn't shoot me, and I couldn't find him. But the missile launcher. And remember, all Japanese are ninjas. Now you won't have any more shields, and now it's just armor, so warp and pistol, warp and locust if you want, or locust, or warp and Assault rifle. Man, that could probably be good. Or warping the Viper if you had it. Basically just take that thing down.
Your eyes will set well on the open.
Occasionally I'll do that and duck behind there and send more guys.
We've got company.
Pistol and warp, pistol and warp. This is a good spot to stand, I guess, just because you can peek out, you don't have to take actual cover. And of course it ducks back down, because of course it does. Good news is, no one glitched, so... Ah, I was wrong. Forgot about that. This time I remember just pull them and I'll just send them back down. This completely. Sometimes you still have guys on the battlefield here. That way you can just. Sometimes you have to take those guys last after you take out the gunship. Not a huge deal. Just don't die. And that's it. Show the build. I don't bother with her passive.